Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to learn more about our Leadership and Connection for Asian and Asian American Women Plus program. My name is Erin Swift. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the Program Manager of Global Open Enrollment Programs for Executive Education in Carnegie Mellon University's Tepper School of Business. I'm excited to be joined today by my colleague, Dr. Mung Chung Chang. Mung is the Assistant Director of Training at CMU's Counseling and Psychological Services, as well as a former Tepper Executive Education participant. We're so excited that Mung will be serving as the Faculty Director for this program. And Mung, I will hand it over to you to introduce yourself.
Thanks so much, Erin. Hi, everybody. It's so nice meeting all of you. My name is Meng Chunjiang. I use she, her pronouns. I go by Meng. My identities are Taiwanese, Taiwanese American, Asian, Asian American. I am most passionate about training highly achieved individuals as a training director myself in my current role, and that includes supporting leadership training and development for individuals with minoritized identity. This is very much in line with my personal and professional value of social justice, equity, inclusion, diversity, and belonging. So excited to be here with you, Erin.
Thank you so much for your warm introduction, Mung. Could you please walk us through what the Leadership and Connection for Asian and Asian American Women Plus program is?
Absolutely. So as you can see in the very long title, we're trying to kind of spell out different type of Asian and Asian Americans in the United States and globally. So it's really important for us to remember that Asian and Asian Americans are not a monolith, right? So you see in the full title of this leadership training program that we really try to spell out Asian, South Asian, Pacific Islanders, Native Hawaiian to really fully acknowledge the diversity within the Asian American groups. Additionally, this leadership training program really have set the intention to make space to address leadership opportunities related to intersectionality by focusing on women and gender expensive individuals who are assigned women at birth. And this is why the full title of the program is Leadership and Connection for Asian American Women Plus. So for our conversation today, Erin, we are going to keep it sort of smooth going. So we will just be using Asian Women Leadership Training Program to cover the diverse and multitude of intersectional identities that this leadership program intends to serve. But I think it's important for me to kind of just share a little bit about the context and background so that we keep in mind that identity plays such a key role in our personal leadership and professional development. And this training program really take each person's identity seriously, and we want to honor the different ways that people self-identify as they participate in this program. So with that in mind, this Asian American Women Plus training program is designed to hold space for Asian women leaders to learn about effective and evidence leadership styles and skills that are tailored to the unique strengths and challenges for the intersecting identities of the participants. So, you know, the research really also shows what really supports women leaders, Asian women leaders to become effective leaders is to participate in hands-on activities, practical skills, conversations, discussion. And so this program built in space for a lot of that. So that you will learn about deeper insights about our leadership style as well as our personal professional goals. Another important element of this program is that we really strive to integrate elements of connection and support for Asian women leaders. This is a very unique and I think useful aspect of being a part of a cohort of Asian women leaders. Also consistent with research and our lived experience, right? How do we best support Asian women leaders' development is really in a culturally attuned and gender coherent way. So these are some brief introduction of the program.
Thank you so much, Mung. That is a very helpful introduction to the program. And I know that you touched on this a bit, but I would be curious to hear more about why and how this program started.
Yeah, so I have sort of the three motivations or inspirations that really help me think through why this program, sort of how this program was formed. So one is really from my own personal experience as a professional psychologist. And I'll also go through sort of research and business reasons for why this program started. So, you know, I'm trained as a professional psychologist. I've taught graduate, undergraduate classes. I've led different workshops, trainings, presentations, and I've consistently engaged in clinical and supervisory roles in the past several years in my career. And what I've heard from friends, colleagues, clients, professional connections is about their triumphs and challenges as leaders. In the last 3 years, the idea become more and more clear and well formed that it's important to create a training program, a leadership development program that is specifically tailored for Asian women leaders to develop your leadership skills in a manner that is coherent with our cultural self. Right, so that's sort of one impotence of the program. The other one is, really from my academic research and empirical background observation, is that what seems to be missing for Asian women leaders is not just about building more traditional leadership skills. What we know from research is that for Asian women leaders to be effective, it is crucial for them to experience and improve sense of connection and meaning with their cultural and gender identities. So this really helps Asian women leaders to become the best version of themselves, which often translates into the most effective and efficient leaders, doing exactly what they love to do, but also more integrated. So, from the business realm, this is true. More and more research is coming out to show what a loss when we didn't capitalize on Asian women leaders' talents. And so this is really a missed opportunity for businesses that cares about outcome. And it's only possible if we can include and help develop more Asian women leaders because they are great at depthful relationship building, effective connections, help improve creativity, and so on. So really, I think the basic level of productivity outcome is enhanced when we help Asian women leaders succeed. So I feel very fortunate that we are able to bring this to the Tepper Exec Ed School to bring this program to life. Very exciting to share more about the program with you.
Thanks, Mong, and we are equally excited. That was super helpful context and background, and I think it helps everyone watching understand a bit more why and how and for whom, which we're going to pivot to in a second, this program is for. So speaking of the program's future cohort, could you expand a little bit about who we're looking for in a potential participant, right? Are there any particular qualifications or requirements to consider when people are registering for this program?
Absolutely. So the program will welcome everyone who can benefit from the design of the program. So it's helpful to know a little bit about what the program is designed for. This Asian Women Leadership Program is designed for Asian women leaders who are in their mid-career, maybe 12 to 15 years into your professional life. Participants who tend to gain the most from this program are someone who have demonstrated expertise in your perspective area. Maybe you have expertise in technology, maybe in education, maybe in the entertainment industry or other businesses. And for Asian women leaders who want to further grow your career and by way of developing leadership skills, right? And for leaders who want to find a role that feels coherent in your life. I think it's also important for participants to think about like what's your interest, right? So typically people who are interested in, as I mentioned, growing your leadership skill, maybe taking it to a next level, right? You're already in some kind of a leadership role, but you want to do better as a leader. And you maybe want a community of support. You want to feel a sense of network, expanding your existing network, kind of go outside of your comfort zone. Maybe you're wanting to incorporate elements of culture, your gendered identity as well into your leadership practice so that you can work and live in a more meaningful and integrated way. I think those are going to be great fit to participate in this program. Erin, I think you're muted.
You caught me. Thank you so much. So let's talk a little bit more, Mong, about the structure of the program. Do you mind walking us through the format?
Absolutely. So the first thing I think, thinking about this program and who it is designed for, Asian women leaders tend to be really busy with your professional, personal, community work, life, navigating multiple roles, doing variety of different things, right? So when we're designing the structure of the program, we really want to make sure that there is built-in support for these multiple roles that Asian women leaders tend to play. And so that Asian women leaders who are part of this program can engage in the program in a meaningful manner. So as you can see, specifically, the program is hybrid by design so that we can both foster a supportive space to build community as well as engaging in highly interactive content of learning and skill building activities. So the entirety of the program is about 6 weeks long. It will start with a 2-day on-campus intensive for sort of a longer, sort of a Thursday, Friday, or weekend kind of intensive. And during the intensive, we're going to have a chance to kind of meet all the other Asian women leaders who are part of the same cohort. And we'll cover a variety of different topics, as well as engaging in some individual and community practices, such as connection activities, meditation, self-care activities, discussion, reflection, sharing, and so on. All of these activities will incorporate elements of intersectionality, social cultural perspective, and lived experiences of Asian women leaders. After the 2-day intensive, the cohort member of Asian women will go back to our home businesses, our professional and personal life, but we continue to engage in the 4 weekly virtual interactive sessions that covers topic to build our leadership skills. Throughout the program, participating Asian women leaders will also schedule 2 one-on-one coaching sessions with me so that you can have a chance to sort of focus on your individual, personal, and professional goals.
Great. Thank you so much. And we have the slide up on the screen with a rough sketch of the program's curriculum, but I was wondering if you could expand a little bit on the topics and themes that are going to be covered throughout the program.
Absolutely. So as you see, we start with the 2-day intensive. So day one, we all come from different places, we kind of settle in. We're gonna connect with one another, starting with some icebreaker, just getting to know each other as humans. As part of that, we will actually start talking about the history of Asian American women in the United States and globally. What are some of our shared lived experience? What is it like to lead as Asian women? You know, what has been our leadership journey as Asian women? So something that's really important that we'll be talking about in the first day is both our identity development. We'll go through the theory about that, as well as leadership development and how those two goes hand in hand. And really, the goal of the first day is connection and to start reconnecting and remembering, finding meanings in a way that is coherent with our cultural and gender self, and to really connect with our passion. Now, going into day two, we kind of settle in, we know each other. We're actually going to start to develop some leadership skills to go into more evidence-based and culturally informed practices for Asian women leaders. So we'll be talking about topics like imposter syndrome, the impact of the double glass and bamboo ceilings, how that impacts Asian women leaders, the model minority myth, and how really that helps or impedes us as leaders. And we're not going to stop there. We're actually going to do some skill trainings. How do we resist some of the potential barriers that are structurally there? So we'll host space for the cohort members to think about how we can respond to all of those, sharing ideas and experiences, our own wisdoms. How do we, for example, how do we respond to microaggression? You know, how do we lead in a way that is coherent with our Asian women identities? So this will lead naturally into the program where that we are going to talk about the idea of intersectionality that would be throughout the entire program. And then something that's important for the second day is actually some more specific leadership skill training, including branding. So how we are thinking about our brand as Asian women leaders, and we'll have diverse different types of brands, but how can we include our identities into our leadership brand? And how do we think about practices of resilience and self-care? Start to think about some more specifics of how we can support ourselves and continue to on this leadership training in a sustainable manner. In the end of the second day, we actually will have some kind of gathering and have some food together, enjoying each other's presence before the weekend kind of end. And then all of the cohort members, all the Asian women leaders will go home back to where you're from, your family, your workplaces, but we continue to engage. So we're gonna go to 4 weeks of didactic and interactive topics. So as you can see, we're gonna go through topics of negotiation, managing conflict, the topic of how to say no. We'll talk about how we will lead change. What does that look like? What are some ways of giving and receiving feedback, right? So these are topics that are covered by the Tepper School's faculty who are really well known in the specific area of leadership training. But what's unique about this program and this 4-week interactive didactic is that after the didactic, we're actually going to come together as a cohort. I will be joining you so we can kind of reflect on what we just learned about the skills. Do they apply to us as Asian women leaders? Where does it work? Where does it not work because of our identities? What are some ways in which we can integrate that? We can kind of fine tune it so that it feels more coherent with our cultural self and our gender identity. So these kind of 4 weeks didactic, as alongside the skill building, we will also really deepen our connection and continue our community building with one another as a cohort. After the 4 weeks of the didactic, we come to the last week of the 6-week training, where we will come together again for a extended, longer virtual reconnection and reflection sessions. So at this point, we've been together for 5 weeks and we've learned a bunch of skills. We've shared a lot of our challenges and experiences and wisdom. And so this is the last time we're coming together in this training program. So we may talk a little bit about our take-home messages, how we are wanting to integrate what we've learned into our practices as leaders, as individuals and professionals. And then we may start talking about what comes next, how do we connect, continue this network in a sustainable manner.
Thank you so much. That is a really helpful walkthrough of the program's structure, format, and also the topics that we'll be covering throughout its curriculum. And I wanted to back up just a minute because you mentioned previously that coaching is one of the really unique and intentional components of this program. So for those who may not be familiar with coaching and maybe who are familiar with coaching but are curious about the kind of coaching that will be offered through this program, could you explain a bit more about how coaching is incorporated into the program and what can our participants expect from those coaching sessions?
I will be happy to. So for participants in the program, you will have a chance, in addition to sort of the community building, networking, connection activities, you will actually have a chance to also kind of reflect on yourself and work on what are your individual goals, maybe personally or professionally coming to this program. So the purpose of coaching is really to center on you individually, and it's tailored for your personal professional goals. So what I would invite participants to already start thinking about is whether or not there's a topic that's been on your mind. Sometimes if it's not, that's fine. Maybe as you join the program, as you learn throughout the program, something started to come up and you started to have a question for yourself that you want to explore further. So the coaching session is an opportunity to explore these ideas or questions you have in a more individually tailored and meaningful way, so that you can have a sense of a direction and where you want to go from there with this initial idea. So the coaching sessions are a focused space for participants to get support, guidance, to reflect a little bit, ask for advice, or to feel inspired, really based on your specific personal or professional goals.
Okay, thanks so much for that, Meng. I was hoping that we could talk a little bit more about the why of the program, which I know you've touched on a bit, but I would love for you to expand upon why it is important for AAPI Women Plus in business and those who support them to support this program and to encourage those women to participate.
Yeah, so I think for those of you who are leaders and entrepreneurs or have the vision of supporting Asian women leaders, I think you already have a good sense of what your business or your field is missing out for not supporting Asian women leaders or emerging leaders, right? And because of that, helping Asian women leaders succeed is going to bring successful outcome for your business and whatever that you're looking for. This easily go along with the diversity bonus that we are all very well aware of in the business world these days. Basically, that organizations that prioritize diversity, equity, and inclusion missions tend to have improved effectiveness, better productivity by way of an improved sense of trust and safety that are felt in the workplace by people of diverse identities. Now, I think it's important to think about how it's why it is important for Asian women leaders to consider being a part of the program. I think as you mentioned, Erin, we talk a lot about what this program entails and what are some purposes of the program. I think for Asian women leaders who are looking to find connection, resilience in a way that is sustainable and meaningful to them, it's really important to be a part of this program because the program is designed to help Asian women leaders to hone leadership skills, not only individually, but really collectively in community, which is consistent with the cultural practices of how we live in our daily life. So, for those reasons, I think it's really meaningful for Asian women leaders to be a part of this program.
Great, thank you. And then as a final and concluding question, I would love to hear about how you see this program helping participants in both their personal lives and their professional careers.
Yeah. So at this point, I think it's perhaps helpful for us to kind of take a step back, and for me too to kind of think about what was the reason I'm so passionate about bringing this program together. And I think as I think about what is the meaning of life and what makes us happy, what do we know from psychological research? Really, I think for most of us, living a meaningful life in a grounded and embodied manner is something that we all ultimately want. And I think for Asian women leaders too, to be an effective leaders in the different roles that we play in community, in our professional or personal life, it's really important that we don't end up having to cut off a part of ourselves or pretend that a part of ourselves is not there or turn away from different parts of our identities. So I think in the end, what this program really hopes to bring is to help Asian women leaders feeling more integrated in their multiple identities, not just professional, but also personal and cultural and gendered identity. So I think I, I really see this program as helping Asian women leaders to find connection and community, integrating those parts of our identity so that we can become better leaders in a more sustainable manner. So that's kind of a lofty goal, but if we kind of break it down a little bit, what would you take away? What would Asian women leaders take away from this program? I think some specific goals can be named, right? So, for example, Asian women leaders participating in this program may anticipate, finding some effective leadership styles while integrating your Asian woman identities. The program will help us build a supportive community and professional network of peers for us to really develop tools and resilience as a leader, to refine effective communication and negotiation skills. And I think also really important to kind of have build a strategic vision and leadership capabilities that is, again, is in alignment with our gendered and cultural selves. And for Asian women leaders to learn to give effective and actionable feedback in line with our different identities. So really thinking about this, I'm actually quite excited. Just talking through some of those goals and outcomes, and wanting to welcome you all to consider being a part of this program to really expand on your leadership skills, your leadership practice, and further integrating different parts of your gendered and cultural self into your personal and professional development. So I'm so excited and looking forward to see this program come together.
Thank you so, so much for joining us today, Mung. As faculty director. We're so fortunate to have you. We feel very lucky in the Tepper School of Business to have you on our team in exec ed, especially as a graduated participant of a previous program and with all of your professional and personal insight and wealth of knowledge. So I have a slide showing with my email address for anyone watching who might have further questions about the content of the program, would like to connect about something that we didn't cover in this little Q&A, or just simply logistical questions that you might have about how to register, timelines, accommodations, those sorts of things. We are here for all of it. I will loop in Mung as necessary to any of those questions, and we really appreciate you taking some time out of your day to learn more about this program, and we hope you'll again give us some consideration to joining us for this cohort. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Erin. It's great to talk about the program, and thank you all for being a part of this. Please reach out to us, and I look forward to meeting many of you soon.
Thank you again, Mung.